the Course also says that when two people join in a holy relationship, the Holy Spirit enters. And so, what does the Course have to say about the Holy Spirit entering into a holy relationship and guiding it as it moves forward?
That is a really main feature in the discussions about holy relationships, especially in the text. And the idea is that if you join, I mean, some of us are familiar with the language in the text about inviting the Holy Spirit into the relationship. So from that, we think, oh, okay, the way to have a holy relationship is we invite the Holy Spirit in, which is a great idea. But unfortunately, it misses a subtlety. And the subtlety is that material is talking to Helen and Bill. And the way they invited the Holy Spirit in was as two total non believers in the Holy Spirit. They said, let's find a better way, right? It was completely secular. What invited the Holy Spirit in was having that common goal, because egos can't join in a common goal. They can only join separately and, for their own separate purposes. And so the Holy Spirit's invited in anytime. Even hardcore atheists unite in a truly common goal. And then the Holy Spirit becomes what I call a third presence in the relationship. There are now three actors on the scene, and he is now trying to take the relationship. I often talk about it as, as you're like on a roller coaster ride. You climb into this cart, and once you climb into the cart on a roller coaster ride, you're not in control of where it goes. You go where it goes. And there's a lot of that with the holy relationship.
Or you say no.
Or you say no and you bail,
Hmm.
right? Which I think is super common given human nature. Um, but what happens is he takes you on a ride that's a new ride. It's not just a repeat of where you've been, what you've done, how it's gone before. He takes you on this new ride. You go new places. Think about Helen and Bill's lives. They went places they never would have guessed because of the entry of this third presence into their relationship. And Helen started having spiritual experiences. She started hearing inner guidance, all of which was a concrete testimony to that third presence actually being there. So the point is that the Holy Spirit is there, trying to guide you to the goal he has set for you, which is kind of your goal. I think is like a specific vehicle for a much deeper goal and a much larger goal that he's trying to guide you to. And I think that's one way you're in a holy relationship is when it feels like your hands are not on the wheel here. You're in the cart.
Yeah, and Helen and Bill are such a good example of this because they joined on a very relatable goal of trying to make a better department in which they worked, to have an environment that wasn't so toxic where people could collaborate versus compete. And so they joined on that, and then all of a sudden, Helen started having these experiences, and then next thing you know, the Course is coming through. So what they joined on was different than where the Holy Spirit wanted to take them. And that is, as you're saying, very reflective of what happens in a holy relationship. And you can too, certainly speak from experience on this. Like, you come in and you think you're doing one thing, and the Holy Spirit's like, well, actually, what I'm going to do is use the skills that you have gained for yourself, that you think that you built because you wanted them to serve yourself, and I'm going to use them to serve my purposes. And at that point, you feel a little out of control, and that's where people start bailing, because we
Right.
don't want to relinquish this much control of our lives, because once the Holy Spirit enters, once that third presence enters your relationship, buckle up, because
Right.
you don't often know where that card is going.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I mean, we all love control. But to talk about the relationship between the goal we join on and his goal for us, I think the relationship is a harmonious one. I think he sees our goal, which does contain egoless content, or we couldn't truly join. He sees our goal as like a vehicle for his goal. And then he takes his goal and he fills our goal with it so that our goal broadens and deepens and so on. So Helen and Bill, they wanted to find a better way in which people could live in harmony and get along. Well, Jesus used that to dictate this, very long book, which is the better way, right?
Hmm.
Now, the better way he teaches, it's so much more than anything they could ever have imagined. But it does, unbeknownst to, I think, a great many of us course students, it does very much have to do with living in harmony with each other.
Yeah, and as I'm sitting here reflecting on what I just said, I hope I'm not scaring people because
No, I'm sure you're not.
well, what ends up happening is when that third presence enters, you do realize that you're on a ride that isn't of your making, and that is when our control issues kick in, and oftentimes we bail on the relationship. But if you can stick through it, you realize, oh, God and the Holy Spirit knew me so much better than I knew myself. And the plans that they had for me on this cart, in this cart, were so much better than any of the plans that I had for myself beyond my wildest dreams. And so if you can stay in the cart and trust, then you realize that it's a ride that you want to be on.